morning. How are you all? Luis Miguel Lexa from BRIK BC Projects. Hope you're all doing well. It is morning here. Might be morning, might be afternoon, might be nighttime, depending where you're at around the world. So thank you for joining. Today we're actually running our Discord channel simultaneously. So if you prefer to use Discord for audio, you can go on there on live on Discord on our channel on the BRIK BC. So I think we have somebody. It's hard to say who the people are. So all I can see is your profile picture. But thank you for joining on Discord there. But yeah, look at today BRIK Q&A. So we today's topic is where do we source our properties from? So we'll go into some details around that. But yeah, sort of a bit of an outline for today. So we'll just go into a bit of an intro, who I am and so forth. I'll cover also on our announcement today. So we making for the first time the announcement here on our BRIK Q&A. So we'll go into what that announcement is. This third part will go into the finer details of in terms of where we're sourcing our properties from. And then we finalise with some mentions at the end. So that's a bit of an outline. Just a reminder, there's some pinned tweets on here. So we've got our usual suspects that we have every week, sort of the main ones, and in terms of the BRIK Koala property, showcasing that and some things that I did over the past week as well there. So there's those pinned tweets there. So probably in terms of an intro, so as I said, I'm Luis Miguel Alexo. I'm the Managing Director and Co-Founder with Mrs. BRIK of BRIK BC Projects. We tokenise Australian properties, focusing on residential luxury properties. Probably in terms of some of you probably know that I do enjoy my music, and that song that while we were getting ready, I Love It, by an Aussie band, Hilltop Hoods, one of our more famous hip-hop band group. That song, I Love It, featuring Sia. So a bit of a duo Aussie flavour there to the performance. So that's I do enjoy that song. So I hope you enjoyed it as well. So I just sort of covered off on what was that song playing. But yeah, look, in terms of I always trying to explain what is real estate tokenisation. I always going to use a simple example at the start of all our BRIK Q&As. I think it's important that people who are coming and listening for the first time, they're listening, live. They're coming first time to the blockchain. It's good to sort of get a bit of basic understandings as to what is real estate tokenization. So I always use a very simple example, should I say, and that's where basically some people planned or they've thought about it or they've done it in the past in traditional real estate where you might have gone in with somebody, you might have identified, say, $1 million property, too much to buy by yourself. So identified 4 friends, family, and you go in and actually put your funds together, and everybody contributes $200,000 in to make up the $1 million. You go and settle on that property, and you go on the journey together. You basically settle on the property, you collect the rent each week, each month, whatever the case may be. And you're on that journey together, owning 5 people, owning that real estate property. We're doing exactly the same thing, but obviously we're doing on the blockchain, but we're doing with the people all around the world. So basically, people, we basically, fractionalize or basically split the property into 40,000 pieces, so to speak, what we call tokens. And then basically we go on the journey together. Everybody buys the tokens in the property. And we go on the journey together indefinitely in owning that property, and obviously get the rewards from that property, and we're on a long-term journey together. So we stay involved with all the properties we tokenise, we look after. We actually have a position in each property. So again, as I said, we go on the journey together for indefinite time. So yeah, that's sort of basically what real estate tokenisation is a group of people that own a piece of that property going on a journey together, but in sort of very simple terms. But obviously on the blockchain provides that transparency in terms of the ownership of that property. But yeah, so that's sort of a bit of an intro. As we are focusing around residential properties, luxury properties here in Brisbane, Gold Coast, and the Sunshine Coast is what we call the southeast Queensland. Queensland being our state. So it's on the eastern part of Australia. So these are the areas that I've grown up from a young boy, and then professionally in terms as a CPA accountant. And for around 28 years, both being a CPA accountant, also doing our properties from a family perspective. So that's sort of briefly my background. That's been at the core of me in terms of as an accountant, but also as developing and building and renovating properties on our family side of the business. So that sort of gives me very much everything's comes very second nature, so to speak. So these are where my networks have been. These are where people that I've built relationships for a long time, whether it be the architects, the town planners, the engineers, the builders, developers, you name it all. You think of anything that's involved with property, that they're the people that I've obviously dealt with for 28 years in my professional life. So that's and again, that provides a massive point of difference in terms of our tokenization platform, in terms of providing access to anybody all over the world to buy our property tokens, given that these massive point of differences. So we are going to be focusing in these three areas: Brisbane, Gold Coast, and Sunshine Coast. There's enough properties there to last a lifetime in terms of what we can tokenize. So access to properties is it's a non-issue for us. It's just a matter of what the demand is and staying within that sort of parameters in terms of our boutique model. So in year one, we've planned out 11 properties. So the BRIK is our current property token series here in Brisbane that we're selling at the moment for $80 a token. That's US dollars. So again, that's the one we're focusing on. So we just once we sell, then move on to the next one, the BRIK, which will also be in the same area. So this areas of Hamilton, Ascot is very prestige areas. These areas here, there's a lot of old money, as we call it. So a lot of people, a lot of generational wealth that's been in the area and continue to be in the area. So these are the areas that we know very well, and given our luxury properties, we know it's obviously ticks all the boxes what we're trying to do from a luxury properties perspective. But yeah, look, in terms of it sort of gives you sort of a guide as to what we do and what's planned ahead, and I guess with that also making sure that we're engaging with the good people as well, in terms of all the people around us, and being the best of breed, and right through in terms of my networks, and also where we're actually buying our properties from. And today the announcement actually is that we've actually signed an in-principle agreement with a builder developer, Houseworks. That's the name of their business. So Ali Ariani is actually the managing director and founder of Houseworks. So we'll go into a bit of detail thereafter. What does that mean? In terms of what are the outcomes for us given this in principle agreement. Again, I've known Ali for a while, and Ali, probably just to go into the finer details as to what does that mean for BRIK BC. So for us, it's about a matter engaging with builder developers or developers if they haven't got a builder's license, is making sure that we actually attract the right properties that we want to actually buy. But also there's some certain criteria that we like to have in terms of who we engage with, in terms of those builder developers. So it's always easier when they actually are the developer and the builder all in one, because obviously they control the whole process, given that they've got their own builder's license in terms of building that property, so they can actually obviously be more in control in terms of building costs and timeline of their property. So our arrangement with Houseworks is very much in terms of having a very fruitful long-term relations with them. So Ali, who's the managing director and founder, he's of Houseworks, he actually was building in Sydney. He went through the Sydney boom in terms when the 2000 Olympics were held in Sydney. So he was at the heart of it in terms of the boom going on there. And then obviously he went on to continue to build properties in Sydney. I actually done a sit-down with Ali actually last, which I've actually pinned in here. I've actually done a sit-down chat with him last Friday here in Brisbane, and we sort of went through some of the things that obviously are important to us and who he is, and getting a bit of a understanding in terms of who he is as a person and the family values. So that it is a family business. It's a family business made up of three families involved. So the Ali was obviously his family was the founding of that. So he was doing that in Sydney with houseworks. So he's brought that up to Brisbane to Gold Coast. So he moved his family up to the Gold Coast a few years ago for lifestyle reasons, and also seeing the opportunity what was happening in Brisbane and Gold Coast. He actually at the time asked me where should I base my family? Should I base it in Brisbane or the Gold Coast? And I said to her, only your family knows as to where it comes back to lifestyle. Obviously, Gold Coast has got the beautiful beaches. Brisbane's got a river, has got the beaches, but obviously different things. But yeah, so he's settled on the Gold Coast as to where he's raised his family. He's raising his family, his young family. So again, he's around two other families. He brought two other families into the mix in terms of what they're doing to give them more scalability in terms of the properties that they're focusing on. So for us, it's very much about in terms of the values of people, the passions, in terms of being they're very much a class themselves as a family business. They're not a corporate; they're a family business, just like us. In terms of we class ourselves as a family business, engaging with other families in terms of what we're doing. So again, they're totally different set of values as opposed to being being a corporate. So again, for us, is always that family values is critical, and also in terms of their passion. In terms of they're very passionate. Ali's very passionate what he does. For me, that's always critical. He's passionate about properties, passionate about putting quality product out there. Always trying to find new ideas about building, new and innovative ideas in terms of the building design. So again, it's again for me, I'm passionate what I do, and I like to have people that I engage with. They're also passionate what they do. And Ali's certainly got the passion. So, but yeah, no, it's and again in terms of it always comes back to us what are the outcomes for BRIK BC projects in terms of having these arrangements with a builder developer. And I guess in terms from our perspective with Houseworks, is having the foresights, what they're doing, what are their projects, what projects they're planning over the next 5 years. And I guess, Ali and I have sat down and he's actually been very, very open about those properties. He's got, at the moment, he's locked in 11 properties over the next 2 years that they've basically secured the sites. They're working on the designs. They've pretty much got most of the designs all pretty much from his architect, Stuart Osborne, which I do know Stuart Osborne. He's based on the Gold Coast. So, again, he's working through all those designs. But the sites, the more important thing is that the sites are locked down. 11 sites locked down, all on the Gold Coast, these ones. He will be coming to Brisbane once he gets past these dozen properties. So he's looking for sites now in Brisbane as well. So again, for us, it's having those insights, what he's doing in terms of his building business, and be able to sort of pick the ones that ticks all the boxes for us. Again, not all going to tick our boxes, whether it be because of the location, where in terms of not quite the right design that we see fit. In terms of what we're doing, in terms of tokenizing real estate, and I guess also the important thing is also priority. We have priority in terms of which properties we're going to buy. So my discussion was Ali is showing some of the designs over already the 3 days are actually locked in terms of the designs, and be able to see whether that ticks our boxes. So again, having that ability to have a priority in terms of buying those properties that he's going to be building. So again, for us, gives us obviously a big point of difference as well. And also in terms of like the design ideas as he's building the design of his homes with his architect, with Stuart, the architect, me be able to sort of provide my own input into him in terms of what I think around design ideas. in terms of what he's doing. So so it's for us, we're quite excited in terms of having this in principle agreement with Ali from Houseworks and his team at Houseworks. So we're pretty excited. They're pretty excited as well. We had a chat with the team a few weeks ago and sort of elaborated what we were doing. And again, they're pretty excited in terms of having their properties obviously being exposed to the world. So again, it's a win-win situation in terms of our arrangement with them. So that's the announcement that I wanted to make. We'll put some stuff up we put that up on our media, part of our website, BRIK BC Project. So it's up on the media. So we've got detail which we'll put across our socials as well. So again, this is for the first time that I've actually made that announcement here on the BRIK Q&A. So hope you guys enjoy the journey and in seeing what they're up to. And as I said, I've put some there's some pinned tweets on there already, sort of showcasing some of the properties that Houseworks is doing. So so that's the announcement for today. In terms of where we're sourcing our properties, probably I've sort of covered in terms of from Houseworks perspective. But guys, basically our three sources where we source the properties, the luxury properties for Brisbane, Gold Coast and Sunshine Coast, it'll come from three sources. It'll be the private sellers, so people that we've approached would love the property. People who approached and basically made some sort of arrangement with them where we say we'd love to buy your property and sort of have an amount in terms of what we agree on, but nothing's really, we can't really sign anything with them, but basically say that we actually are looking at buying a property, and then it's about then raising those funds to buy. So three sources: private sellers, developer, builder like Houseworks, and just developer where they might not have a builder's license but they're developing properties and they're engaging builders, their various builders to build their properties. So they're the three sources. The BRIK is obviously a private sell, so we've approached those are the owners, and obviously we've had a discussion as to the pricing of it. Obviously with Houseworks, it's the developer builder, sort of second category. Talking with another builder at the moment that over the next few weeks, a developer should I say, talking with him about in terms of their property. They're doing for some fantastic properties, so we want to discuss with them. And again, it's always about the person first, and I like who he is. I like who he is in terms of he's also a family business as a developer. Again, it comes back to those values, and we're sitting down with him next few weeks to go over in terms of what they're doing, and looking at doing some sort of arrangement that we've done with Houseworks with this particular developer. But yeah, sort of they're the three categories where we source our properties from. We always look in terms of the criteria, obviously locations, and I know everybody always talks about location, and again, at the heart of it always has to be location as obviously the critical element. So in terms of location, as I said, Brisbane. Brisbane City here, in particular Hamilton and Ascot, where the BRIK Koala is. That's obviously one of our focus areas. So it'll be there for the BRIK Koala plus another 6 properties there. Plus another 5 properties to make it 6. The first 6 in Brisbane here around Hamilton and Ascot. So again, that's an area that we know very well. I just live down the road myself, so from the BRIK Koala property. So again, I'm always in the area. I know what's popping up, and I know what the opportunities are, and so forth. So again, the Brisbane area, that's the area we're focusing on. Probably as a side note, for those of you who actually know your horse racing, the Ascot area, which is when we talk about Hamilton and Ascot, they've got the same postcode. So they're pretty much the one big suburb. So, but part of it's Hamilton, part of it's Ascot. But in terms of, as a side note, there's a famous horse race. One of our premier horse race tracks is actually at Ascot. So at the back of Ascot, we've actually got a famous called the Eagle Farm Racecourse. So again, that's one of our premier racecourses. And I know some people do like their horse, like Matt, the Raven Accumulator. He's doing his new projects, Sporting Sharks. So he's I know he likes his horse riding. So if you do this and this, Matt, Eagle Farm is at Ascot here. So yes, so that's one of the three areas we're focusing on in terms of Brisbane. So we've also got Gold Coast. I mean, Gold Coast will be the areas be as north. As north as Sanctuary Cove, the heart of all the golf courses. There's like probably around 6-7 within golf courses within a sort of a 10-kilometre radius there. And going as south as Burleigh Heads, right on pretty much almost on the border of New South Wales and the state of New South Wales, which is south, which is where Sydney City is obviously the capital of New South Wales. So basically, Sanctuary Cove to Burleigh Heads, which is probably around sort of 80 kilometres distance between south and north. And then Sunshine Coast, which is Sunshine Coast is north of Brisbane, 100 kilometres north of Brisbane. So we're focusing around the areas of Noosa to Maroochydore. So there's a lot of fantastic homes being built, quite a fast growing areas in terms of the growth from a population perspective. So they're the three areas: Brisbane, Gold Coast, Sunshine Coast. The three areas we're focusing on in terms of all our properties indefinitely. So as I said, the first year we've got obviously 11 properties planned. So it's eight in Brisbane and 3 in the Gold Coast. So we then moved to year 2. We've got 20 properties planned for year 2, and basically it'd be 20 properties, a mix between Brisbane, Gold Coast and Sunshine Coast thereafter. So every year, thereafter from year 2 onwards, we're focusing on 20 properties each year. So this sort of gives you a bit of an idea in terms of the locations where we're sourcing our properties from, and obviously they have to be luxury properties or A-class residential real estate. And ranging between the $2.6 million to $3.5 million each. So there's sort of the niche, the really niche that we're focusing on. That's where we see a lot of opportunity, what's happening. So so that sort of covers in terms of where we're sourcing our properties from and the locations they're in. And obviously with Houseworks, they're building theirs on the Gold Coast at the moment, but they're trying to find sites here in Brisbane. So no doubt the first 3 in the Gold Coast will come, at least one of those will come from Houseworks in the first year. It's quite funny because our 7th series, our first Gold Coast property in the 7th series, we've actually named it BRIK Dolphin, and we were looking at one of their properties that's actually on Dolphin Avenue, just by coincidence. It's actually on Dolphin Avenue, the Mermaid Beach. So we don't know what that might look like. So keep a watch on that one. So so that sort of covers it in terms, as I said, in terms of where we actually getting our properties from. Probably just open up for anybody's got any questions. If you want the mic, I'll pass you the mic to ask any questions. Please step in when if you'd like to, and we'll give you the mic. But while we sort of wait for any questions, I'll sort of elaborate a couple more things there. So basically, as I said, in terms of the properties that Houseworks are doing, they're fantastic properties. I've actually had the pleasure, the first one it's currently being built, that's almost pretty much finished. That we've actually had the opportunity to sort of go in there in different stages of the build. When they were pouring, just after pouring this. The slab on the first floor. I did share a photo actually where we the whole team that's involved with that property, and some of the people we obviously part of our network. We actually had the photo taken there at level on the freshly poured concrete slab. So again, that's a fantastic property there in a great location. So it's I'll probably have to share that photo later on in terms of seeing in its raw. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of sharing progress photos of raw because sometimes it's hard to people to imagine what the property will actually look like finally. I always like to show the finished product because I think people can actually appreciate the finished product a bit better. But that's just sort of my thinking anyway. But yeah, look, it's as I said, again, if there's any questions, please come up before I sort of start. We try to keep this under an hour before we start sort of the wind down. So it's actually I think there was actually a couple of questions that I actually was asked during the week. There was actually one in terms of. Oh, that's right. Somebody was asking me on DMs actually during the week in terms of with what we're doing in terms of the properties. What happens if like the property, say that BRIK wallet, what happens if that gets sold before we actually raise the funds? So obviously we've got to raise 2.6 mil in terms of all the tokens. So there's 33,000 tokens available for sale. We're up to I think 1,400 from last count. It's on our website from last count. What happens if that property gets sold? Well, as we've always said, we've obviously disclosed that in documentation with the BRIK wallet. Is that we've already got the other properties lined up in the area. They obviously are part of the next series. So basically, the properties are very similar. So if the BRIK wallet property got sold, basically we are able to replace that with another one that's of similar value, of similar features, in the same suburb. So again, that's what we've actually got in terms of there's contingencies there. So again, you'd be pretty much getting the same thing. As I said, there we've already got in terms of obviously the 5 properties coming up in the area next around the neighbouring the BRIK wallet in the area. We've already pretty much finalised those in terms of buying those properties. But as I said, we're making sure that when we put up a property, we focus on that property. And then once that property is sold, then we bring our attention to the next property. So we give its full attention. Again, we're not about volume, we're about the boutique. Is making sure we're always giving that property its full attention. So we've got the other ones already lined up. If for some reason the seller sold that property from us, then we've already got it lined up. So again, that's all disclosed in the documentation when people sign for the property tokens, for the BRIK wallet property tokens in the sale agreement. We've detailed that in there in terms of there's always going to be alternatives for some reason that gets sold from us. There's going to be alternatives in the arrangement. So so it's all very much disclosed on the website and documentation there. So again, for us, we have no problems getting properties. It's just coming back to continue to educate people in terms of what property tokenisation, what the opportunity is, and obviously being available to everybody from all corners of the earth in terms of what they can do. All they need is a mobile phone. We'll probably start on the wind down. We've got some mentions here that I want to sort of cover if there's no questions. Probably just a shout out to the STO market guys, Herwig and Kyle and the team there. They're great supporters of us. They're great supporters of the Ravencoin community. They've got their crowdfunding actually launching tomorrow. So, the 6th of July, US time. So they've got they're tokenising their business. So the STO market business of theirs, which has got various aspects to it. They're actually tokenising their business. So they've been actually obviously educating people what tokenisation, asset tokenisation is all about. Now they're actually drinking their own medicine now in terms of tokenising their business. So they've got their crowdfunding official launch on the 6th of July. So check out for those tweets that they're putting out there. Again, as I said, they continue to be big supporters of us and the Raven community. And let's sort of show support in terms of what they're doing and have a look at their documentation, see if that's something for you in terms of their tokens that they're selling for to tokenise their business. So have a look at that. Also, a big shout out to Ryan, founder of Ravenist and Just NFTs. Thank you for the caps. We got the caps yesterday. I actually did share my my BRIK walk yesterday, my rainy BRIK walk that I had to do the video in the car yesterday because it was a very, very much a rainy day, which I know LSJ and Andy love rainy days. Given that and Paul, they're actually listening. I know you guys love rainy days because that's all you get over there in England, right? So, we had some of that over the last few days here. So I'm actually over it rainy days. No more rainy days. It does restrict you. So we're not used to rainy days. So But yeah, look, it's yeah. So thank you to Ryan for those caps that finally arrived down under, and we were quite excited to share that arrival. So thank you, Ryan. We continue to be big supporters of Just NFTs and Ravenous. That's where Ravenous in particular, where we buy a majority of our artwork has come from the Ravenous NFT marketplace. As some of you know, that we buy NFT art. And that NFT art's by tokenized properties as well as our own BRIK BC office. For the tokenized properties, obviously those pieces are retained by the property token series, owned by the respective property token series. So the BRIK Koala has got 10 NFT art pieces in there, which it has got one of Indy Bow's standing tall swan, beautiful swan. So again, we continue to buy. Mostly it's coming from Ravenous NFT marketplace. So again, it's we see it as a great opportunity to support, especially NFT artists on the Ravencoin blockchain, and basically having that piece of artwork on to also be hung on in the property. So the property token series, the artwork that we buy for that token series is obviously an asset owned by the token series, but also we do also put a prints of those NFT art pieces on the walls of the properties for the tenants to enjoy that beautiful artwork that basically they will never be accessed. But now, given how global and obviously with the blockchain and NFTs, people can actually now enjoy artwork from all over the world that people didn't have access to before. So again, for us, we're really excited in terms of the journey we've taken in supporting artists that are now minting their artwork as NFTs, especially on the Ravencoin blockchain that we continue to support. So that's the only restriction we have in terms of buying art. They have to be on the Ravencoin blockchain. And if they're on Ravenous, we actually see them all the time. So on the Ravenous, and there's a few new platforms in terms of NFT RVN as well. Also with WAGMI and Sunny's WAGMI platform as well, that we can see a lot of the art that's coming through. So again, get yourselves on those platforms so we can see, so we can actually possibly buy some of your artwork there as NFTs. So again, thank you, Ryan. Probably lastly, we have got our regular show tomorrow, which is Wednesday 3 p.m. US Eastern Standard Time, which is What is Real Estate Tokenization, that Jay co-hosts with me. And tomorrow's topic is we're going to be talking about the fundamentals of tokenizing real estate. So we're just going to go a bit deep in terms of what are the fundamentals around it. So I hope you can join tomorrow. If there's no questions, I think that's pretty much a wrap-up. And thank you for joining us. And if there's any questions that you might have, just DM me, and we'll try to answer those. And we'll probably use that as content for the next BRIK Q&A. So thank you for joining. Thank you, Paul, Ray, Xander, LSJ, Indy. Thank you for joining us today, and really appreciate your support. And if there's any questions, DM me. Otherwise, have a fantastic day and stay safe. Bye for now.